Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to use the fact that we have a test coming up on the next block period. Test. To get some business to take care of on Friday and Monday. I won't be here either. So here is the agenda for this week and where your points are going to come from. I've had a lot of people ask me how they can improve their grade from today, Friday, until your next test. There's probably 2 or 3 letter grades on the line. Every time you take a test, it's very important. So what's going to be graded today? Today, I'm going to give you feedback on test number 1. So this is what we're doing today. Make sure that when you're watching this video that you either have the volume on your computer or you have your headphones on. If your computer's not working, you can share with your partner. So test number 1 answers are going to be today, and when you type those answers in, you can get back a maximum of 50% on test number 1. So if you were concerned about your grade because you did badly on test number 1, for example, if you got a 20%, that means there's 80% left. And if I give you half of that back, then that means that your new total could be a 60%. So you can go from a 20% to a D on your test. And tests, many people, again, expressing frustration about your grades. It shouldn't be a new expectation. It's been surprising for me to hear so many comments about that. It should not be a new expectation that you do have tests in your math classes, that those tests are graded for correctness, not for participation, and that it's not realistic to think that you're going to get an A or a B in the class unless you're making A's or B's on the tests. So that's what's going on for a lot of you guys. You're going to need to change your expectations. You're not going to ever make an A or a B in a math class unless you make A's and B's on the tests. But you do have this opportunity to retake it because all of these questions are going to show up again on test number 2. So you need to make sure that you've got test number 1 completely all the way rock solid because all those questions are going to come back again. And then on Monday, there's going to be some notes on factoring. And you're going to be working on assignments from chapter 8. You need to finish the group of assignments starting with number 20 and going up to 24. And mainly just number 20 is going to be on the following test. So what you need to have done for test number 2, you need to have all of chapter 7. In other words, the material you got tested on before. You need to have that group of assignments about greatest common factor, number 17, 18, and 19. So that should be through 17, 18, and 19 from chapter, let's see, this is chapter 8. So all of chapter 7. In chapter 8, you need 17, 18, and 19, and then the next group, just number 20. We didn't get to factoring if the leading coefficient isn't 1. And this is also this test here. And that test is again going to be 100 points. And I need to impress on you that the grade in the class is not going to come from participation, and it's not going to be changed by complaining or not being happy about it. There's a realistic expectation here that your grade on the test is going to be what you get as a grade in the class. So make sure that you're studying up on these tests. Again, what you need to study are all in chapter 7. The most thing to study would be just test number 1. That's where we're going back over it. Greatest common factor, there were notes where that was the area model, the box method, where you have to pull out a common factor. You need to practice 17, 18, and 19. They are coming up on a test. And then splitting up a trinomial, number 20. That's the one where you have to do a trick, multiply to this number, and then what adds to that number. All right, so that's all going to be on the test on Tuesday. And we're going to go ahead and start. Today's Friday, and so here are your answers to the test. Make sure that you have the volume on. You are not going to be able to help yourself. You're just writing meaningless numbers down unless the volume is on. So f plus g means I'm going to add these 2 trinomials. So I'm going to take 9x squared, 2x, and negative 9, which is f, and I'm going to plus that by g. And g is negative 11x squared minus 5x and plus 2. This is not the box method. You're plussing, not timesing. And so this is the method where we're going to circle our like terms. The two terms with a square are 9 minus 11. 9 minus 11 is negative 2. Do not change the exponents. And then my next terms is a 2x and a minus 5x. Most common mistake is actually, surprising to me, leaving off the x. I would have thought the most common mistake was not getting the negative 3 right, but many people leaving off the x here. And then the last term is a positive 2 and a negative 9. And when I combine those, I get minus 7. All right, and I did that by plussing this function plus this function. And now I want to minus those two functions. So the only difference is that because of the minus, I'm going to KFC. Plus 2x minus 9. And there's my important minus. And I'm going to now minus g. Here's g, so I'm going to minus g. Plus 2, and the only difference between these two problems is that I need to keep these, flip that sign, and change all those signs. So I'm going to flip here, here, here. And I do want you to go ahead and erase, using your eraser, physically erase it and put minus, because I don't like having that minus there. It's tripping some people up. All right, I got like terms again. 9 and plus 11. 9 plus 11 makes 20. Leave the exponent alone. And then 2 and 5. 2 plus 5 is, of course, our friend 7. And the last one is negative 9 and negative 2. Negative 9 and negative 2 make minus 11. All right, so those are my two trinomials. First, I add f plus g. Then I subtract f minus g, the only difference being that this one has to be flipped in the second trinomial. Okay, the next one down is exactly the same. By far, the most common mistake here is the forget that subtracted from means you have to switch the order. So this is going to be 2 minus 1. Expression 1 subtracted away from expression 2. If you get that right, then you should be fine. I'm going to put expression 2 here. There's 2. 2 goes here. K squared 2k minus 5. 8k to the third 9k squared and minus 4. And just like in the previous problem, there's an important minus symbol here. And anytime I see a minus, just because that's math, I'm going to change the sign. So I'm going to leave this term alone, flip the middle, and change the negative into a positive. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. So keep these, flip that, and I do want you to physically change all the positives into negatives. So this one turns negative, and erase the positive, and put the negative, and then the negative can just turn positive there. All right, and now I'm going to start finding my like terms. The leading term is k to the third. That's the highest exponent. There is no other k to the third, and so I bring it straight down. Minus 8k to the third. Next terms, my squares here and here. Combine those two, and I get negative 20k to the second. Incidentally, if you're not sure still about your negatives and positives, here's how to combine. Many people still ask me, does that mean plus or does that mean minus, Mr. Wolf? It means combine. I've consistently only said combine all year long. Combine negative 11 and negative 9. Now, if you wanted to read that, you could read it as negative 11 plus negative 9, but I prefer to think of it as combining 11 negatives and 9 negatives. And of course, that makes 20 negatives. So 20 negative k's, and then my next term, 2k. There is no other k, so I can just bring that straight down. 2k. And the last term is negative 5 and positive 4. And when I combine those two, let's do that on a calculator as well. And this is anybody who is frustrated about their grade. Number one thing that you can do to improve your grade, or one of the things that you can do, start using a calculator to do your addition and subtraction. Pick up your calculator and use that to do your addition and subtraction. It's negative 5 combined with positive 4. And that's negative 1 because there's one extra negative, so that's minus 1 going here. Okay, so let's double check our answers. It says when expression 1 is subtracted from expression 2, the difference is negative 8k to the third, yes. AK to the second, AK to the second. So this is A, because that's the k to the second parameter. And then 2k, yes, 2k. And then the last parameter is B. B is here. B. All right, so based on this expression, the parameter A, the number in front of k squared, is negative 20, and the parameter B, the number by itself, is negative 1. A is negative 20, B is negative 1. All right, I'm now going to go up to the top right. Again, if you ever fall behind, be sure to push pause or rewind. F plus g is 7x to the second minus 8x minus 4. So let's start with the 7x to the second. We can eliminate things. This one, 12 minus 5, is 7x to the second, so that's going well so far. This one's negative 7, so that can't be right. Negative 2 and negative 5 make negative 7. We want a positive 7. 6 and 1 makes 7. That's looking good. 5 and 2 makes 7. 3 and 4 looks 7. So we eliminated this one. And now second term, negative 8. Negative 7 and negative 1 do make negative 8. That's looking good. Negative 19, positive 11, that makes negative 8. So that's looking good. 7 and 1 make positive 8. That's wrong, so I can eliminate that. And negative 2 and negative 6 does make negative 8, so it's still in the running. Incidentally, this should have been circle 2, not circle 3. And then the last one, 2 and 4, or 2 and 2 do make 4, so that looks good. So this, all three terms are correct. And then this one, there's only the plus 4 here, so that's right, and now that's right. So here's another possible correct answer. The last one is wrong because it's negative like the 12. So these two combine to make negative 4. We wanted positive 4, so that's wrong. And we eliminate that as a possibility. Correct answers are A and C. Next problem. I'm going to do D minus C. That means that the D expression comes first. 1 to the second, 3y minus 6. And from that I'm subtracting C, that's the second term. Okay, and you should notice that these four problems actually exactly the same. Almost every problem on this page, when you first looked at it, it seemed like it was asking, every problem was asking something different. But every problem actually wanted you to do the same thing. They just asked it in different ways. They wanted you to subtract almost every time. So I'm going to keep flip change again. So keep this, flip this, and change. I do want you to actually physically erase the positives and put negatives so that you don't get confused about what the sign is. And on we go. I've got a negative 7y squared and negative 3y squared. I've got a 3y minus 4y, and I've got a negative 6 and a negative 4. The first term, negative 7, again with your calculator. If you want to improve your grade on the test, pick up your calculator and double check what your combination is. If I combine negative 7 and negative 3, oops, I get negative 10. Please start using your calculators. Do not change the exponents. And then the next one, 3 minus 4 is negative 1 or just negative y. I would have counted the negative 1y correct. Khan Academy will not, and I do not know if the AZ Merit will or not. Start leaving off your invisible ones just to be sure. And then the last one, negative 6 and negative 4 make negative 10. And so the final answer came from these three terms. All right. The question says express D minus C as a trinomial, and that is exactly what we've done. So this says, when it says express, it means write as a trinomial. 1, 2, 3. That's exactly what we've done. We wrote this as a trinomial. All right. Next question. This is kind of a missing piece, kind of a puzzle. I'm going to multiply the coefficients here. Highlight it back. Multiply my coefficients and add the exponents. All right, so that means that negative 9 times d is what's giving me my 36, and it means that c plus 7 is what's giving me my 9. So the parameter here that would make that true is negative 4, because negative 9 times negative 4 is 36, and then this one would have to be 2, because 2 plus 7 is 9. And so my answers were 2 and negative 4. A lot of people messing this one up. I know that the rules say to add the exponents, but that doesn't just mean add whatever exponents you see. It means add the exponents on the x's. So let's look just at the x's. Many, many, many people looking at that too. I never said add any exponent that you wanted to. Add the exponents that are on the x's. So many people put negative 6, and that was right. Many people then got really confused. Some of them put an x, some of them put x to the 4th, and then they added, some people just put the x, and then for some reason they added 2 plus 4, because they know that the rules of exponents are to add the exponents. But no, you don't add a y to an x. You add an x to an x. 1 plus 4 makes 5. And then y to the second goes at the end. Also, there were some people that tried to use the box method here. It's not necessary because all you're multiplying is a monomial times a monomial. Negative 2x y to the second times 3x to the 4th. That's what the box would look like. And you're multiplying the coefficients and adding the exponents. So that's what the box method would look like here if you were using the box method. All right, that's all page number 1. Page number 2. Most everybody said that multiplying is a lot easier. This one is 4 times x squared. This one is 4 times 3 is 12. Don't forget the x. And this one is 4 times 2 is 8. And then a lot of people, really kind of a misunderstanding about what plus means. Plus means and. So you've got this and this and this all together. If you leave out the pluses, it is counted incorrect. And then the next one, negative 5. Many people forgetting to put the 3, not the 1. It's 1 and 2 make 3. And then positive 3w squared and minus 4w. And you do have to write it out sideways to get credit. Okay, express this answer as a binomial, negative 4w to the third. I shouldn't be lazy. I should actually draw this, because many people do still need to draw their boxes. Notice that I'm putting, this is a distribute problem, which is why I know the outside and I'm finding the inside. So I get negative 4w to the third and plus 36w. I won't draw the box for this one. Negative times a negative is a positive. 5. Q to the 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 5 is 25. Q to the seconds. Most popular mistake, leaving off the q to the second. There is a q to the second that comes along for the ride here. Okay. This times this is negative 81. H to the 1 plus 4 is 5. Negative times a positive is a negative 81 again. And h to the 4 comes along for the ride. This does get distributed over here. It's there still. And negative 12. P to the 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 24. P to the 2 plus 1 is 3. Find the values for a, b, and c that would make this true. You're distributing a negative 3 to the terms. I'm going to draw a 1 by 3 box because I'm multiplying a monomial times a trinomial. 2x squared. Ax, I don't know what ax, and b, I don't know what b is either. So let's figure out what would match this up. Let's see. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, x to the second. I just have to start working. I can't. Maybe I don't understand what it's asking for at the beginning, but if I start writing stuff down, it's going to start to make sense to me. This is negative 3 times a, x, and this is negative 3 times b, x. Oh, it's just negative 3 times b. Okay, and that has to match up or equal this expression, cx to the seconds, 12x minus 15. Now, what would make that true? C would have to be -6. That one's easy. That's the parameter of x squared, -6. A, -3 times what number would give me this coefficient 12, the one in front of the x? -3 times A, well, A would have to be -4, because -3 times -4 is 12. And then the last one, -3 times what makes 15? -3 times 5 makes 15. And so the solutions were -4, 5, and 6. Sadly, you are not going to get a grade just for this piece of paper, however. And the reason why is you're just going to have to get to the point that you can type an equation in. So in order to get your credit back, you now need to go to Wolfie Math Tests. And under Wolfie Math Tests, I will have, under the date for today, I will have test number 1 retake. Please put the correct answers into the retake, and I will give you half of the credit back for this test. And keep in mind that the reason why you're getting all these answers is that each of these questions will be on your next test. If you don't understand one of these questions, you need to shoot me an email so that I can fix whatever your misunderstanding is, because it's going to come back on the next test. It'll be on the next test after that as well. These questions will never go away. They're on every test from now on. And that is it. Thanks very much, and I will get another presentation ready for Monday.